welcome. We'll be getting started in just a moment, just waiting for everyone to join in from the waiting room. And while we're waiting, if you want to say hi in the chat, maybe let us know where you're zooming in from. We'd love to know where you're located.
Sorry, did you mention to start introducing ourselves?
Oh, yeah, if you wanted to say hi in the chat and let us know where you're zooming in from, we'd love to know.
Sounds
Welcome.
good.
Thanks for being here. Wow, we've got some West Coast, East Coast, a little bit of both.
Hope everything's good for you, Tony, in Los Angeles. I know I'm in Los Angeles as well, and it's been quite a interesting time with the fire. So I hope you and yours are doing well.
Yeah, things are good here. We're pretty far east where they haven't had any.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thankfully I haven't been too directly impacted either. Just the false alarm that they sent.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, I think we do have everyone in from the waiting room, so I think we can go ahead and get started. And so, yeah, we wanted to extend a really warm welcome to our third installment of our National Mentoring Month series, Nurturing Healthcare Heroes. And tonight's webinar will feature some healthcare professionals from our NU community, and we'll discuss the role of mentorship in clinical work and growth. And yeah, we want to encourage you to engage throughout the webinar. It'll be pretty interactive, and so feel free to put your questions in the chat as we go along, and we'll address those throughout the panel. And this event is also being recorded, and so we will send that out to folks afterwards. And we're excited to help you map out some of your career goals, connect with a supportive community, and explore mentoring opportunities to advance in healthcare. And so I believe the next slide, we have a little bit of our agenda for this evening. And so we'll start off with some brief introductions of our team. We'll ground the discussion of mentoring with a brief overview of our NU mentoring network. And then we'll get into our panel discussion with time for Q&A at the end. And I'll pass it over to my colleague Heather to start off our team introductions.
Thanks, Jasmine. My name is Heather Piedrahita. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni and Community Relations. I'm also an alum myself. I have my master's from National from 2011. And we're really excited to bring this whole series to the community because we have such an amazing group of students and alumni as mentors and mentees on this platform. So, Lindsay, do you want to come off and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi there. I work with Heather in the alumni department. I'm excited for this event and learning so much through all the other webinars that we've had around mentoring. It's so nice that we're extending it and adding another session next week. So looking forward to that too, but happy to be here tonight.
And I'm Jasmine Banks. I'm the Student Engagement Coordinator here at National, and I'm the other half of the mentoring team, Heather and Lindsay, focusing on the alumni side, and I'm here representing the student side. So again, we're super happy to have you. So moving into a brief overview of the NU Mentoring Network, we wanted to start off letting folks know about this great resource available, and it'll be a great space where you can integrate some of the tips that you'll learn today. And you might also hear our panelists talk about their experience on the platform as well. And we know that some folks might be more familiar with it than others. And so some of you might be like, oh, I'm a pro at this. And some of you might be like, what? We have a mentoring network at National? And so we're going to tell you a little bit about that. So for context, the NU Mentoring Network is a virtual platform that is open to everyone here. And so you could be a student, alumni, community member, And the great thing is that similar to LinkedIn, where you can make connections with people and message people, you know that everyone on the NU Mentoring Network is associated with NU in some sort of way. And so it feels a little less scary to make those connections because you already have a door that you can open that connects you to folks. And the platform offers you the ability to sign up as a mentor or a mentee or both, depending on what you're looking to get out of the platform. And so, you can give time, you can receive some help from your community. It's a great, reciprocal process that way. And so some key features when you make your free account, because this is also free and available to everyone, is it'll first match you with different mentors and mentees. And again, like I mentioned, you can message people directly on the platform. It's a good one-stop shop for that. And you can also set up appointments directly on the platform as well. And in addition to the mentoring piece, which is a big piece of the platform, there is a whole wealth of resources available for career advancement. And so we did want to talk a little bit about those as well. And so one of our key features is the Vault, which is a really great library of different job guides as well as just guides to help you advance in your career. And so we have guides on there, for example, giving you interview tips, telling you about the best places to intern for the different fields that you're looking to go into. And the company that we partner with for a mentoring program, Volt, they actually do a lot of independent research. And so they're giving you the best up-to-date information about all of those career advancement tips. And so you can just, that work is already done for you. You just have to log on and read it. We also have some community spaces on there. And so if you're looking for a more tailored experience to folks that maybe have more in common with you, like maybe someone who's in your school, maybe someone who's an alumni in your area, we have a bunch of different community spaces on there where you can have a more intimate experience and way to reach out to folks. We also have a link to our Handshake platform, which is our job platform. We have a video library where there's videos on there, sort of similar to LinkedIn Learning, where you can do upskilling for free. And so you can keep up to date with all of the new things that are coming out, especially with, the rise of AI and technology. It's always good to just keep up to date with those things and maybe watch a few videos. And yeah, there's just so much more to explore. And so again, we just encourage you to, make an account, browse there, maybe reach out to some folks and maybe take advantage of some of these resources that are available and free to you. And we do have the link to the website there as well, which I'll put in the chat for folks. And so we encourage you after the program tonight to, just go ahead and make an account if you don't already have one, and we'll hopefully see you on there. And now getting into our panel discussion, the meat and potatoes of our program tonight. And we'll go ahead and have our panelists tell you a little bit about themselves. And so we'll start with Dr. Amir.
Thank you so much. My name is Amir Kalagai, and I have practiced as a physician for more than 13 years. And in 2018, I involved in doctorate of health administration at National University. So I graduated in 2023 as a doctor in health administration. And as it has been mentioned on the picture, I had been with Alta Hospital Systems from 2019 until now. And very, very recently, few days ago, I joined the workforce of National University as a faculty, and I will be serving as an assistant professor from now on with National University. And it will be a great honor to be here as a previous alumni and current faculty.
We're so excited to have you here, and thanks for donating a little bit of your time for us tonight. And I'll
You're
also
very
pass
welcome.
it over to Erin.
Thank you so much for having me here tonight. And congratulations, Dr. Galigi. Good evening, everyone. Aaron Abreu here. I am a National University alumni, almost can't believe 10 years ago now. I feel a little old. With my master's in public health, I've been in the military health system, specifically the Navy Medicine Enterprise, since I was 18 years old. I started as a hospital corpsman. That's basically an LVN equivalent in the civilian sector for 10 years. And through National University's program, it worked well with my schedule. I took my MPH, my emphasis is in healthcare administration. That's what I do for the Navy. It allowed me to transition from becoming a technician, bedside patient care, over to becoming a healthcare executive. So 17 years in, still love my job, still love the healthcare, still love the military healthcare system. And I have the honor and privilege to work for the Navy Deputy Surgeon General to take care of over 45,000 staff members in a global enterprise. So honored to be here, looking forward to the discussion, to your questions. And I have so much to say about mentorship because I'm a product of it. And I truly believe in the platform as well that Jasmine was talking about. So thank you.
Folks want to give a little virtual round of applause for our panelists, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to Heather to get our panel started.
Thank you, Jasmine. And thank you to both you, Aaron and Dr. Mir. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your introductions and for the mentorship that you've given on and off the platform. Aaron, I'll give you a little bit of reassurance. When we host our Alumni Association meeting, we always ask who is the earliest graduate on the call. And I have often been the earliest graduate on the call from 2011. So don't worry, you're doing fine.
Okay, gotcha. I'm good then. I'm good.
You're amongst good people. No, I appreciate you being here. And I have no doubt that Dr. Kalagai will be talking to you about how to get that MPH up to the DHA. Don't worry, I'm sure that'll work itself into the conversation somehow. But we're glad that you both are here. I wanted to start if maybe we can just talk really generally about mentorship in your field, because we've done these events throughout the month specific to our core industries. And so looking at nursing and healthcare specifically, maybe you could give us an example of a time that mentorship has impacted your career, whether you've been mentored or even a time that you mentored someone else. And I'll toss it to you first, Aaron, since you mentioned it in your intro.
Yeah, absolutely. Mentorship has been crucial in my success in the military health system. Interesting you said nursing, because most of my mentors are nurses and I'm a healthcare administrator. They're the ones that pushed me. One of the healthcare executives that I admire is a pediatric nurse practitioner. She's been in this healthcare industry for about 20 years. And she's so savvy, not just as a nurse practitioner, but also in the healthcare business side. And she taught me a lot about that. And I learned so much about them. And sitting down with those individuals and how they mentor you with a specific skill that you feel like you don't have. And that specific ask turns into something else, right? You start with, hey, I need help with name your X. And that X grows into Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that's one thing that I think where mentorship has allowed me to grow as a healthcare leader. And in return, one of the things that I like to do is to give back to platforms such as NU, the NU Vault mentorship as well, and other associations. So that's how mentorship has impacted me, at least in my industry.
Thank you. No, that's a great example. I love the idea that it's not necessarily the person you would have picked out of your network with the biggest title or the most experience, but somebody who can teach you something that you maybe didn't know. Dr. Amir, how about you? You want to share a story of mentorship in your career?
Absolutely, Heather. I want to say that at the time I was practicing in the hospital as an infectious disease specialist, the mentorship role became more brilliant for me, because at that point of view, when you are dealing with patients with infectious diseases, which is harmful because even you are not allowed to let the families come around, and the people in that situation, they feel lonely. So it's two kind of mentorship here. One is for our personnel, as Aaron said, and one is for how you deal with the patients and with the people who are suffering. So this industry, I mean health industry, it's something different than, for example, innovative or technology or some other parts of the sciences. So I want to know if anybody has a kind of complicated situation that they had to went through something very harsh at that time, and how they did feel that this mentoring and give them assurance and push through the right path worked for them or not. So if somebody want to share their experiences in the comments and you bring it up to us, it will be very fine. But for me, as I want to tell, and when I was a very young physician entering the hospital, I asked the manager of the department that, what should I do, professor? And his answer, I will never forget this advice and answer until the day I'm still alive, that he said, don't do anything, just be a human. And that reciprocate my life. And because of that time, I'm always thinking that a mentorship is a kind of human practicing. So you want something for yourself, for the others, you must first want that for yourself. If it's good for you, it's good for the others. If it's not good for you, don't ever try to practice that or advise that to the others. So sometimes mentorship comes from the mouth of a professional person. Sometimes our act is a kind of mentorship. Sometimes our behavior is a kind of mentorship. And specifically when we go through the university, and because this is an academic society right now, we are in talking in National University Alumni Association, which is one of the greatest in the whole nation. We want to talk about that. The unique professional advice from a mentor who is a professor of this university, it can make a lot of advantage and at the same time disadvantage if it comes in an inappropriate time to the students. So let's do it. Let's go through it. Let's have some examples. For my perspective, I'm honored to have the best mentors in my career as a physician and now as a doctor of health administration. But I try to set myself to be a good mentor from now on as a faculty. So yeah, I will be open here. If any question pops up, I will be here. Thank you,
I
Heather.
love that. Yeah, no, thank you for that perspective. And I think that don't do anything, just be a human. I think that's a powerful thought and probably relates a lot to why, mentorship fits really well within the healthcare industry, because I think it's an industry that leads, heart first and human first. And so thank you for sharing that. In thinking about, somebody who maybe is new to their career or in a stage of their career where they're looking to connect with a mentor, what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to connect with a mentor and start that relationship? How can a mentee effectively communicate their career goals and what they're looking for in that initial conversation with someone to say, hey, will you be my mentor? Amir, do you want to take that one first?
Yes, I want to tell that mentorship is an art. So if you are in this position to be someone's mentor, it's an art to know first which part of this art is using for this person. So knowing the personality, sometimes you must be very strict, clear, white or black. That's it. Sometimes not. You must go from the peripheral to the central zone and warm up something in order to be effective. So it's an art. And how you gonna motivate your mentee, it's a kind of skill that you must learn. And of course, if you have good examples in your personal life, you can implement that to the other person. So to me, it's a very, very good situation to communicate with a person who has a lot of hunger to progress in this era.
Yeah, no, that's good to think about. And I think your point about personality is important, that sometimes who we approach for that first mentor conversation may or may not be a long-term mentor, depending on the vibe of it all and how everybody clicks. Erin, anything you want to add onto that thought, or how you would recommend a mentee approach that conversation?
Yeah, I love this question, especially for early careerists. It's like dating.
It is.
And
I've said
dating,
that. I
right?
agree.
It's mentorship is like dating. It's awkward because you're asking a person, will you be my? That's a lot of vulnerability on your end as a mentee. And, speaking for myself, every time I approach this, even up to now, almost 2 decades in the healthcare system, I still get like, "Ooh, are they gonna have time for me? They're so busy." You have all these what ifs, but those what ifs are just in your head. I promise you, those individuals, those senior leaders that you're trying to seek mentorship from are craving that interaction to give back. Because there's a saying, it's lonely up the top. Those CEOs, CFOs, they're mostly by themselves and isolated. So their way of connecting with people is through the mentorship program. I have a lot of CEOs and senior leaders that have told me that they enjoy it. That's why they talk a lot, because they don't have time to talk. They do a lot of listening. So that mentorship session is one way. And to add on to Dr. Amir's point about personality, I love his point about there are different people, right? There's some people that is going to be very straight to the point, and maybe there are individuals that are not going to be straight to the point. I would ask, like, just like a date, right? That first interaction would be, what's the chemistry like? Is this going to be something that I need right now? Maybe you're in your stage of life where you're going to need a little bit of pushing. So who's that person that you will go to that will hold you accountable no matter what? Or maybe you're going to need someone who maybe not too much pushing, but more of tough love. Who's that mentor that's going to be there for you for that? So have an array of mentors, and don't just stick to just one. I have a Rolodex of mentors that I go to for different situations and different needs.
That is a great point. I love that you ended on that. And maybe I can have you tease that out a little bit. What do you think are some of the types of mentors that are important to have? Who are the kinds of people? You don't have to tell us their names, but the person that you go to for X or the person that you go to for Y. What kinds of categories do those fall into?
Yeah, it's a wide array, right? Like I have my own. I'm gonna share my own classification. I have leaders that I go to for some strategic, operational, tactical things, right? These are everyday things that I will need, and more of a, because I'm a healthcare administrator. There's a lot of operations type of stuff to manage a healthcare facility, to make sure the lights are on, and making sure all my physicians and nurses and providers and the staff is good to go. So that's a different type of leader, the one that thinks from like a very strategic mindset. Who is that person that I go to? So that's one side. There's another type of leadership that I go to that more of like my life mentors, as I call it. And Dr. Amir pointed it out, like it's mentorship is a human type of aspect in a relationship. So there are things that I will go through in a personal level or in a professional level, which involves a lot of conflict with other human beings, because that's how we are, right? So I have a set of mentors that are good with human connections, with team conflict, with, hey, what will you do if you were in this scenario? At one point in time, I was very uncomfortable providing feedback because I'm a admitted people pleaser, and that's one thing. I don't like hurting people's feelings, but you still have to give that feedback. And it took a mentor who was very good at that and says, you owe it to that person to give the feedback or else they won't grow. So I'm very fortunate that I have those two leaders. I kept it simple for myself, who are my strategic operational leaders, and who are my like human-centric leaders. Not that the strategic leaders are not human-centric.
Sure, but you
I
go to
just
different
know.
people for different things.
Exactly. I
Right.
just know based on people that I've worked with, or I know from other people, what they offer to the table as well. And like I said from earlier, it's all about that chemistry as well, and that sitting down with them if this is going to be a good match.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Dr. Amir, anything you'd like to add on that? Different kinds of mentors that maybe you have?
Yes, I want to complete what Aaron said. Well done. Very, very bravely said what he mentioned. It was very good. I want to mention something, complete my previous talk. Since we have the World Cup, Soccer World Cup next year in the United States, and specifically Los Angeles will be one of the cities for this great event, I wanted to have an example about soccer. And everybody knows that soccer is an 11 player work. And you can't say that we will have one superstar in the team and we will be the world champion. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And goalkeeper, uh, different duties, defenders, different duties, center back, halfback, strikers, wingers, all of them are working as one team. The result will be like football, touchdown, goal, something like this,
Sure.
but it needs a teamwork. So one of the
Mm-hmm.
things mentorship needs, that if I am not familiar with the position or situation that my mentee asked me, I have to delegate. Delegate and delegation, it is the most brilliant side of other than mentorship, personality, or skill. I have to be humble if my student, my patient, my mentee ask me something. I'm not familiar with that. I don't have any experience in that area. Simply deliver to the right person, as Aaron said. There are different in our industry with different skills, different
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and different capabilities. So let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's look at it as a teamwork.
Absolutely. That's a great point about the teamwork and really assembling your own team of people to help support you in your career development. In thinking about healthcare as a very broad industry here, but it's 2025 now. Y'all have been through a lot in the last 5 years. There have been many challenges globally for those working in healthcare. And I'm wondering if there's a part of mentorship that might help to foster some resilience or prevent burnout for those in healthcare roles. How does it help to have a mentor when it gets really tough or feels really heavy? I'll let you pick who wants to go.
Yeah, I think for me, in the toughest situations that you will experience in your career, having a mentor who most likely have experienced some sort or a variation of that scenario that you're going through right now, they'll be able to offer a perspective from their end and how they were able to navigate that specific situation. I'm gonna use COVID as an example. That was very tough for me as a healthcare administrator, and so would a lot of healthcare professionals. And I was in a team, I was in a very unique situation. As I mentioned earlier, I've been in the Navy medicine enterprise. Part of our industry is that I don't only manage fixed facilities, I also manage those floating things called ships. Um, so imagine a medical department on a ship with only 45 staff members, and you have a patient population of about 3,500 people during the pandemic. And with zero information, zero infrastructure of how to screen patients and everything. And it's very chaotic. You have a lot of staff members of varying age, cultures. Some individuals, your patient population is not sure what this vaccine is thing talking about. And I was very fortunate that my senior medical officer, CMO equivalent in the civilian sector, she's a preventive medicine doctor. And she said, Aaron, we've been through this before, and it's like maybe in a smaller scale, but
Mm-hmm.
she offered some insights to me of how I can navigate the situation, especially those times where we were being questioned as the medical team. And she shared her experience where she was going through her residency, where she was in a community where their presence was being questioned as like, I don't know about this, very hesitant about the information that was being given to them. So I think that was very helpful for me during that
Mm-hmm.
challenging time. So I wouldn't shy away from approaching those mentors. And I'm glad I approached her because in my head, again, Aaron's thinking, right? And our mind says like, oh, they're probably going through it as well. I'm not going to approach them. No, I promise you that you talking to that individual is probably also therapeutic in a way for them, because they're
Sure.
able to share those problem sets with you and help you navigate through that.
Yeah, maybe in some ways it gives their experience even more value, right? Because it's something they can pass on and know that is helping others to potentially avoid what they may have felt and do it better even than they did. Dr. Amir, what would you add on that in terms of fostering resilience and preventing burnout?
Yes, it's not about healthcare. I want to say in general that we are learning day by day. And like one-to-one model using in National University as the model of education, we are learning day by day in healthcare and in other industries as well. So COVID brought a lot of opportunities to grow. It was very bad. It was disappointing. It was murdering everybody throughout the world. We know that. But what we can take is how to become better people, better nation, better investigators, better scientists. And we did that. Of course, during COVID, we had some kind of guys. We had avian flu and bird flu in 2011, 2010, 2009, and we dealt with that at that time. So when COVID came, and it was exactly the same situation, but more progressive and pandemic, not like that epidemic. It was pandemic also. We used a lot of those experiences we got from the avian flu and bird flu and some swine flu to control and manage COVID. And one of that was mentoring others who were not experienced during that time, because they were not at that time medical providers or healthcare providers. So we are learning day by day. And if we want to move forward, we have to use other ones and our ancestors actually in this industry experiences. So it's very good to have this kind of conversations and put it as a record somewhere there, because maybe in next future, who knows, we need to go back and use some of these experiences and what is talking here, what is sharing about the experiences here. I can memorize some of them in my mind, but it's not always available. But if you record, if you put that in an article, if you publish anywhere, it will be very useful, as we used to make better experiences with what we received during COVID pandemic, which was very awful, but at least we control and we move forward.
Absolutely. No, and I love what you said about continuing to learn and be adaptable and really understanding that healthcare is always evolving, right? And so as a healthcare professional, you need to be able to do the same. And so looking at all of the new technologies, innovation, of course, AI is a big one. But how do you think mentorship can help healthcare professionals stay up to date on all of that, stay current with everything that's changing, and then integrate those new technologies? Aaron, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of lifelong learning. I'm a self-proclaimed lifelong learner. I take certification classes, free ones, paid ones, anything that will really, what they call upskill yourself. Because in order for you to thrive in the workforce is you need to be up to date. um, Individuals that resist change are the ones that get left behind. And same thing in the healthcare industry, as Dr. Amir will probably share as well, is just like, we are a profession which is reliant on evidence-based. So yes, there are a lot of emerging technologies out there, but what does the evidence say? So This is where journal articles come into play. What are the peers and the professionals are saying about artificial intelligence in healthcare? I read about that a lot, and we're actually using that now a lot in certain healthcare settings. A lot of companies and organizations and healthcare systems are starting to use artificial intelligence. However, there's always a caveat of, we are still a human-centric industry. Patients come to us because they see hope in our facilities. So I think that's one thing that has yet, that AI, at least personally from my own readings, that is going to be irreplaceable, is that human-centric touch where we are providing hope, where we can read the body language, the emotions. I saw somebody here is in a BSM program. What you're learning is, at least for now, it's not replaceable by a robot or machine learning, because you are there. You can read the body language. You can read between the lines and the tones. So all for being up to date with the technology, but don't forget, as Dr. Amir has pointed out throughout the call, we are still human beings, and we are human-centric industry that are dealing with human beings as well.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And I think that could be a matter of helping those in the industry feel comfortable with the new technologies, right? Providing the guidance to integrate some of those, and sometimes even flipping the mentor relationship, where those who are in a program now learning these technologies may come into the industry and help those who are already in the industry but not learning these technologies, right? And so it's mentorship flows both ways for sure. Dr. Amir, I have a question just for you, because I want you to talk a little bit about, how do you think mentorship can help a mentee transition from a clinical role into something more administrative, and moving from treating patients and moving into an administrative role? And then now, in your case, even transferring that over into academia. How does mentorship play a role in those career transition moments?
Well, what I can answer to this very, very sensitive question you asked is the need. What we feel that this is a necessity for our community to move forward toward that. And during my career as a physician, I was witness that not all the great physicians, my colleagues, were good managers. Some of them were horrible managers. They did a great job as a physician, but when it comes to managing a system and administrative roles, they were not good, because this is not something you can learn by what God puts in your soul. It's not like this. It's going through education, experience, and earn something. So that was my motivator to move forward, because I knew that, okay, I'm getting more involved in healthcare industry and accepting better positions, but I don't have knowledge how to manage. And this is not something I can earn by visiting the patients. I must learn something in university. I need to pass the courses and the lessons, subjects, articles, books, and something like that. So that was the reason I started another one, and I completed my second time of education. And it was not easy. I can confess that it was so hard when you are in practice, when you are doing that, going back to class, sitting in the class, sharing your experience with the others, and starting from the beginning. Sometimes I was more experienced that the professor was teaching me. And that's a challenge. You must be ready for every challenge in your life in order to improve. I always look at every complication and every obstacle as an opportunity to grow and develop. So that was the reason. And now I think, after this more than 2.5 years of experience, and receiving a lot of appreciations from anywhere that move forward, share your experience. Now it's a great time for me to share these experiences, and of course, what I got through with my students, with my colleagues, with my university, the university I love, National University, and everything about it. So yeah, let's move forward.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Heather,
I am. Yeah,
If you
go
don't
ahead.
mind, I just want to add something because
Sure.
Dr. Amir said something that was like, ah, wow, that was so true. As a healthcare administrator, seeing healthcare executives that were former providers, such as physicians, physician assistants, nurses, rise through the C-suite roles. And what you said, Dr. Amir, was very humbling because you said it yourself, like, hey, not every physician is created equally to where you might be a great physician, but when it comes to managing and leading, it might be different. This is where, going back to your original point of humility, be humble. Because you might have all the degrees in the world and you have the advanced degrees, but still have that humility of having that open mind to learn from all your staff members, not even the ones that don't have the same degree level as you, but they have the the frontline experience, have that open mind. So you just hit a lot of wickets that I wanted to foot stomp and emphasize to the group because that is so true. I see it every day from like my perspective. I've worked with a lot of leaders who's exhibited both good and bad traits. But thank you. Thank you for really sharing that. I think that was very enlightening.
Yeah, thanks for your add-on there, Erin. That was great. I am going to drop a link in the chat. I know we have both students and alumni on the call. So students, keep pushing. Alumni, if you're ready to come back and push again, I want to make sure you know we do have an alumni scholarship. You can apply for $10,000 annually. It's not nothing. It's pretty great. So keep that in mind. I am going to ask a couple of questions from our group here. So we have a question in terms of managers and developing mentees. How would you help to develop a mentee to be a good manager? And what are some of the criteria that you would be looking for in that? Erin, I'm going to make you go first.
Yeah, in terms of a criteria for hiring or developing a mentee, I think one of the biggest thing is really the starting of understanding the need of the mentee and who's the best mentor for them. A lot of times we just said, oh, go to Dr. Amir, he'll be great, without even hearing the actual need. So whoever is that person that is setting up whether in your organization that's trying to set up the mentorship program, have a great understanding or at least set up systems like what the NU Vault has to where it's really digging deep to their expertise and match them as much as possible, but also truly hearing what the need is of that person. And then from there, match them up with a good mentor per se. And there's a lot, Harvard Business Review has a lot of good ways of finding a good mentor as a mentee. And same thing for a mentor. How can you like be a good mentor for a mentee and vice versa? So those are just some recommended things that if you need some articles to kind of look at in terms of framework, I would go for that.
That's great. Thank you. Dr. Mayer, anything you want to add?
Well, what I want to add, everything is clear, and Aaron said all the things I want to mention. So I just want to say that hope, 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 never give up. That's the point I want to go through that because sometimes at the first, because I am watching those texts that are pop up here, and one of them is we didn't receive that kind of kindness from the mentor side or something like that, and what should we do? Never give up, because don't take anything personal. During we have this during college and university courses, we always hear that somebody says, this professor is not good with me, exactly with me. He or she has some problem with me. And it's never like this. Nobody has nothing with anybody, and everybody can go and move forward. But you must be patient, and you must try. If you want to be successful, you must have something to show. Being shy, not involving in any extra activities, and not bringing what you have inside yourself, it's not going to work, because I can't see from your face your abilities. It's impossible. You must show something. And that's the reason I think that this is the biggest point that Aaron said a few minutes ago, that he is going to approach a lot of his friends as mentors and leaders. when it comes to a situation. And so like me, I told you it's a teamwork. So in order to other parts of the team being motivated to help you and mentor you, you must show the passion and you must show something that they go through. And for example, I was in the final, not the final, in the middle of my dissertation. And it was the time I must implement my dissertation into practice so I can gather my data and statistics. And none of the hospitals I was working with them accepted my project to implement because it was showing the managerial defects. So everybody tried I think more than 10 or 11 times I applied and nothing was there. The answer was no. And my time was keep going. And you can't in dissertation go for a long time. You have a limited time. You have A, B, C, D time, and then done, go out, nothing. So it was a lot of pressure on me at that time because more than 6 months, not 6 months, more than 4 months, I think, I was trying to apply something and it was a no, no, no. But at the end, I got it. And the result of that showed in next year after that when I got my degree. So it doesn't mean that I didn't do anything. It doesn't mean that I disappointed. It doesn't mean that you can't be upset. You will be upset, but that's not the point. The point is go through everything, try your best, never give up, and show yourself. That's it.
Thank you. We have one question as well from Georgina. She says, any advice for someone who has asked for mentorship but hasn't found an available mentor? Maybe that expression, they've expressed the need for a mentor, they're looking, but haven't had anybody step up, or maybe just haven't found that right fit. Aaron, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, and Georgina, if you can type in the chat or unmute, are you looking inside your organization or is that where you're stopping? Because if it is, then I say, then if you're not finding something inside that circle, then go outside further and further and further and further, because don't let where your eyes are limited be limited to where you're looking for mentors as well. And you, Vault, is an example of that. A lot of people reach out to me in terms of like mentorship within their MPH program or just as a healthcare administrator in general. Or some people even contacted me there through, hey, I was just randomly looking through NU Vault and I saw that you're in Navy as a healthcare administrator. I'm interested in that. Tell me more about it. So I say, like, if you're asking for some mentorship, but no one's available, I promise you there is some platform out there that somebody is willing to give you some time. I also do a lot of what I call cold calls via LinkedIn. If I see some, prestige, like a person that has a lot of prestigious work in academia and I'm really interested in it and just want to get their insights, feel free to message them on LinkedIn as well. Because those are, and you'll be surprised, some will leave you unread. Like I said, mentorship is like dating, but there are a lot of people that are wanting to give back, but just be clear. If you do ask for some mentorship, here's two things that I would leave you with is one is be clear on what you're asking for, right? Because time is a valuable for the leader as well. And two, you need to follow through. And the reason why I say that, it's not because, the mentors are like, they're this kings and like royalties and queens or whatever, but you need to show and set up the logistics and put in some effort because sometimes these individuals are very busy. And you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in front of them by saying, hey, how does next week work for you? So on and so forth. So be clear with your goals, set up the logistics, make it easy for them just so that you're at the forefront of their brain because they probably have some things going on in their head that there is about running the organization. But you just want to make sure that you're very well thought out with that too.
That's a great point. I love that idea about make it easy for them and be clear about what the ask is. That's really Good advice. I think we're going to move towards wrapping up here. So before I toss it back to Jasmine, any final thoughts from you, Erin and Amir? Anything you want to make sure that our attendees take away today? And Amir, I'll give it to you first.
Thank you. I just want to add something for this last talks we are going through with Georgina. I want to say that at the end, please take a better look at how you are representing yourself. Sometimes we are not representing ourselves the way it should be. I think you have more abilities and your power is more than what you presented to those people you wanted to be their mentee and you want to ask them to be your mentor, but they didn't. I think beside everything that Erin said, you must present yourself better because we try to think that this is I don't want to be selfish, but this is not selfish. This is the way you showing your passion. And this is, I am strongly wanted you to have self-confidence, go through and show yourself because at the end, this is you. At the end, this is you. Thank you so much for giving me this time.
Thank you, Amir. Thanks for being here. Erin, final thoughts for us?
Yes, studies have shown that individuals who have mentors are very successful in their organization. I think I'm probably misquoting here, but I think it's above 80%. So find that mentor. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be a little uncomfortable, but as Dr. Amir said, it's not selfish. This is for you. You need to find that mentor, and it's a team effort. I was just reading about an article that human beings are meant to be social. We have a social brain, like literally right here, that's wired to be connecting with others. And guess what's the best way to connect? It's through mentorship. It's a two-way relationship, and yeah, I think go for it, and take that first step just like you would on a date. And guess what? If you get told no, then you move on to the next one and see who's a good match for you. Because it's hard for me when somebody says I'll never find a mentor. That is false, because there are tons of mentors out there that wants to mentor you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you for the reminder. It is still all about that human connection, for sure. Jasmine, I'm going to toss it back to you. We had such a great conversation here, but I hope you can close us out with a little bit more information for those who are not already on the NU Mentoring Network and might be looking to connect.
Yeah, of course. And as our lovely panelists have mentioned, and again, thank you to our panelists, we do have a really great mentoring network available for your NU community already. So again, we really do encourage you to sign up. It's free. You know, if you're not feeling super confident in being a mentor at the moment, you can always sign up as a mentee. You can always sign up as both and, you know, dip your toe in and see what you're comfortable with. But you know that you're among your NU family and your NU community. So it's a great place to start and really get the support and help that you need. And while you're there, you can also take advantage of some of the resources on there, like our Vault Guide and like our video library. And yeah, just get all of your career advancement needs all in one. And I'll again put that link in the chat for folks. And I believe we have a couple of upcoming events we wanted to let folks know about. And so we do have one last installment of our mentoring series. Technically, February isn't mentoring month, but because we saw such a great response from folks, we did want to give one more bonus webinar. And so that will be happening on Wednesday, February 5th, talking about the power of mentorship and transformation. So we hope to see you at that one. Also, for Black History Month, we will be having a Black History Month celebration. This will be open to all NU staff, faculty, students, alumni, basically just anyone within our NU community. We encourage you to come out. We'll have student and alumni speakers and time for reflection and open dialogue. And right after the celebration, you'll want to then hop into the NU speaker series, Smarter Minds, Your Network is Your Net Worth. That'll be happening at 5 p.m. And then we also have some spaces if folks haven't gotten involved in the Alumni Association. There will be a meeting coming up on the 20th of February, as well as a more informal navigator networking on the 24th. And lastly, again, we wanted to express our gratitude for coming out tonight and engaging with us in this conversation about mentoring. Another great thank you to our amazing panelists for donating your time and your knowledge to the space tonight. And we do encourage you to reach out to us. You know, the conversation doesn't just end here. So we're here for you if you need us. And again, we'll be sending the recording out to folks as well. So if you missed part of it, you can catch up. But I believe that's everything we have for you all tonight.
Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate you for joining us, for the panelists, and for the attendees as well. And thank you, Jasmine and Lindsay, for your help. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.